E papa waiari, taku ne mahi, taku ne mahi e tu koroi mata, io e, ka te aho, e hine hoki mai rā.
Taurikura New Zealand is the inspirational setting for collaborations. Artists from around the world with expertise in a wide variety of disciplines gather together for a week-long event to share ideas, skills and friendship. For those who have never attended, it is difficult to summarise this life-changing event. We were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to film, in the hopes of capturing the essence of collaborations.
Welcome everyone, especially those who've travelled so far. It's great to see you here. We're very proud to have you here. We are very grateful to our major sponsors, Wind Fraser Limited, our local paint supplier. The Oxford Trust, Creative Communities, the Lion Foundation, the Pub Charity, look at us. Whangarei from the States, who have given us airbrushing equipment, the Tool Shed, and Downtown Tools also were very good to us. We had an anonymous sponsor from the USA who gave us a considerable amount of money, and we are very grateful. I'd like to mention who they are, but I can't. The sun could make me squint, so.
Oh yeah, the sun is going to make you squint.
But look at each other a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at each other and talk.
Actually, sorry, that sun.
I'm Des Kogan, Chairman of Collaborations 07 and also fundraiser, Minute Secretary, and that's about me.
Steve Hayward, and my part in the committee is about avoiding doing any work, really. No. I'm the resource artist coordinator, so organising their travel organisation behind that.
I'm Garth Dobney and I'm Deputy Chair, and my part in this is putting the site together and organising all the machinery and all the equipment to come on, and then just keeping an eye on the site and making the whole lot run smoothly. I work in wood and cast glass, copper, steel, basically anything I can get my hands on. I got involved with collaborations right at the beginning when Graham Piddle decided to have it as a concept here in New Zealand, and we got together as a team, and I've been here ever since. I think collaboration started with wood, a bunch of woodies getting together, and it's expanded, invited other mediums, and to a degree now, as Des said, that there's a lot more mediums, a lot more metal workers in it. So for all of us, a lot of us are mixed medium artists, work in different mediums, or as Tiny Steve is our jeweller, and it allows us all to expand our minds into different fields and to work with like the top artists in those fields in the world, and to, you know, sort of instead of having to do an apprenticeship, get shown some of the secrets that they would never show somebody. That's, to me, that's the most important thing, and to see how their minds work, and they'll start with something and it'll just be so off the wall, but it'll come together as a really amazing piece of work.
So this would be my 5th time at a collab, and although I've only been here twice, there's this event that gets held in Canada, Emily, and that's how I was introduced to Patty and Graham, and it's just amazing when you see all these incredible people around you. It just inspires you to really challenge yourself when you go back home. I think, you know, we need to keep on opening doors, and the collab is an amazing way to do it. So no, I don't really think of projects when I come. I get burdened with that at home. I have, you know, I do it professionally. I have an architectural ironworking business, and I make sculpture, and so I'm pretty focused on what I'm doing there. And this is a real freedom to be able to just relax and forget about, you know, my car payment, feeding my dog, and it's just so freeing.
Well, my style of work has been greatly influenced in recent years by participating in events like this. I like anything that grows, growls, and walks or swims or whatever. It's been kind of a little marathon. We had 2 days to make a few pieces, and we encouraged everybody to participate. So we had a steady stream of people wanting to do ceramics. So it's been a busy little tent. Now I'll try to help people who are feeling a little uncomfortable to just swim with the flow. And
originally, I got a grant to go to the States and Canada for a couple of conferences, and one of them was the first Emma Lake that Mike Hosler organised in northern Saskatchewan, and I'd never sort of experienced anything like that. So it's scary for the first sort of couple of days. Pretty hard to get a handle on what happens at these things, but once I got the hang of it, it's just amazing the energy that sort of went on when there's a unstructured, no rule sort of environment, and with the sort of number of professional artists that you get at these sort of events. There's a lot. You go to a lot of conferences and events where you get to teach or demonstrate in that and with other professionals, but there's not really any venue in the world where professional artists just get to come together and play and explore fresh ideas and exchange energy and all that sort of thing. So it sort of seemed like a very cool concept, like the unstructured nature. So just sort of going to that event was pretty life-changing for me and my creativity and my sort of view on what I was making and how I was making it and why I was making it. So I thought New Zealand needed something like that as well. So.
Well, the thing was that we had the gallery, we had Burning Issues Gallery and Mahi Glass Studios in behind it, and we and Graham was one of our artists that we had in the gallery, and he came in and said, "Oh, I've been to Emma Lake and it was absolutely fabulous. What do you think about doing something like this here?" So we had a slide, one of Graham's slide shows at Burning Issues, and the artists all came, and everybody thought it was a really, really good idea. So Graham set the first one up at his place, out at Pigs Head Road there, and we all went out there. It was the best collaboration. It was so good. It was relaxed, and all the tools and things were there, so we didn't have to shift them, and it was just really good, and everybody got so enthusiastic. And I think that enthusiasm, that we had then has continued through, even through the trying times and the busy times. Yeah, it's continued, and I think that's what keeps me coming back.
Ko Karen Wilson aho, ko Ngāti Awa te iwi, ko mātātua te waka. Ko nai te rangi hauhiri, te hapu, ko te awa o te atua, te awa. Ko Jackie Mahi, te Wirihana, taku mātua. Ko Nina Esterina Bianca di Soma, taku mahama. I'm a multimedia artist, although collaboration's the thing that's turned me into a multimedia artist. I used to be a woodworker. And I came here and started working wood, and got introduced to the wonderful people who come here, and all the fantastic skills that they bring with them. And as I started trying some of the processes and techniques which I observed them using, I thought, I really like this. I like the extension of my own skill base to one that starts to embrace another of other media. And you can pretty much, I'd like to acknowledge collaborations for what it's done to me, because it has made a huge contribution to my work. I like the fact that you've got to come to grips with another language as you're engaging in the first few days of the process. Well, what do you mean by that? And you have to become quite clear in your thinking. Like, what was it? yesterday we were talking about dragging a tool across the timber, and I knew exactly what I was talking about, but when I looked at the result, I figured, well, how on earth did we get to that? And it was just that, you know, my description of the process wasn't well enough resolved or defined that the other artists understood where I was coming from. But we got that out, we sorted that out.
That's one of the wonderful things about this collaboration, is that anything is possible. And as the rules are, there's no rules. I did decide on this location because my friends have a batch that we stay in and have for years. I don't know, there's just a lot of humour. It's just out of the normal way of life. You don't have to answer the phone down here, you don't have to cook the food, you don't have to worry about anything but the work that you're doing, and that's absolutely wonderful, fantastic. And that big mountain, that mountain is a real spiritual thing, a real spiritual mountain, you know. It's got a big face on it and looks down on us, and it's even got my nose, I think.
Probably about as much as we want to put in that ladle.
Well, I think the site's a huge improvement. We've got much better tents this year. A much larger area covered in for the metalwork area. The woodwork area, we've got a huge tent that runs right down the side of the building, whereas in the past we've had to build sort of frames and put covers up. I mean, I think we've grown to a level where we're, you know, bringing a lot of machinery in. I mean, we started with a wheelbarrow and a couple of hammers and a piece of tarp. So yeah, we've got bigger and more streamlined, really.
It's probably got better every year. Every time the event's been held, we've learned from the previous ones, and they've just got better. And this, yeah, as Gar said, I think the biggest thing is the site layout and the tenting and everything has worked so much better this year.
Get it around the good side, facing you. All been leading to this moment. Well, that's the wall. So you've got that space to play with.
Yeah, well, we like to invite international resource artists because it makes the whole event attractive for people to register and want to come along, because these are people that are willing to share their knowledge and also just be part of like this little sub-community that really happens over this week. So, and no one's really guarded with their, you know, these are my secrets, this is what I do, it's different to everybody else, so I don't show anyone. There's none of that, you know, it's very, very open, and so that's why we invite those types of people who work well in this environment.
So, see what the colour pattern about that size was it? So if we sort of go, I don't know how to do this. But they're all different compositions. The problem is that there's no leeway for expansion errors because it's so brittle. The error is 2.5 times 10 to the minus 7. If it's any more different than that, it'll blow to pieces. because the clear glass and the colours will float until they blow up. Yeah. So,
You're talking about less than 1 million.
Yeah, it's very tiny amounts really. It's
That's quite clever, isn't it?
yeah, they knew that it was like if it was pulling one way or the other. So we got to now punch this to get the pan. Yeah, we've got to punch this block. So we look at something like that.
Yep. So once that skin's on there, it doesn't stick to it.
What?
Once it's got that skin on it.
It'll stick to the paper if it's too hot. The English probably I use blocks that a lot of people don't, because the wood doesn't. Wet wood or cherry wood won't stick to it when it's malted in if it's wet. But not many woods. Beech woods in New Zealand, otherwise cherry's the common one. Beech. But almost most woods have too much sap in them. So when the heat hits them, even with the water, the resin melts and causes the glue and sticks to the glass. But there's a lot of times where the paper will just grab it and leave this horrible mark which won't burn off. Hey, I still do it, you know. So when you learn to blow glass, the first thing that happens is you blow the bubble straight through the bottom of the piece for about 500,000 times until you work it out. I always used to tell beginners not to be depressed because it's only the first million that are difficult and then it's really easy. Cheer them up, no easy, you know. So you know what this is, this stuff? The glasses, you know, sand melts at 1770 degrees C. Don't know what that is, but it's phenomenally high. And that's quartz, you know, like in quartz light tubes and that. So it's too hot to make. It sets up too quick, and it's nearly impossible temperatures to reach and contain. The furnaces just disintegrate. So they discovered that by adding a flux to it, which is usually sodium, you can make sodium silicate. So soda lowers the melting temperature and makes it easy to melt and plastic to work, but it's not durable at all. So then they add a stabiliser to it, which is usually limestone or lead in the case of crystal, or limestone in the case of soda glass. So pretty well windows and Coke bottles are pretty much still just sand, soda and lime. And it was worked out a very long time ago.
What this is about is cross-pollination. Even though you're not working with everybody here, you're definitely watching what everyone else is doing. And the idea is start going so much, it's hard to sleep at night. And then you go home, you get back to your studio, and it becomes very easy to jump into another medium, or to know enough about, say, metal or jewelry or stone, to ask the right questions to get that incorporated into your work.
I'm Kazunari Oya. I came from Osaka in Japan. So I'm glad to come to New Zealand and join everyone. I'm a woodworker. I'm working at a wood company in Kyoto. So that company is a very traditional company. So I'm making tea utensil or tea ceremony items. Very nice collaboration. So there is many good materials and good machines and tools. So especially very nice people. So I really enjoy this collaboration.
Yeah. I guess it is in this case.
Yes.
It's the closing rack.
Just one.
That's all. Yeah, true.
You know, you tend to get sort of locked. I mean, the nature of it is of the whole. Go back to the beginning about collaboration is as professional artists and craftspeople, it tends to be a fairly insular existence. You know, apart from the fact that you lose what few social skills you had to start with, you can't talk to anyone about what you do. The family just sort of nod and go, that's nice, and your friends as well. So when you come here, it's a lot of people of like mind that are in the same situation, that spend the vast amount of time working by themselves. All of a sudden you've got them here, and it's happening, and well, you can hear the results and you can see the results. It's just chaos. And it's not like work you'd do at home. It's raw and unfinished, and a lot of it's very humorous. Whereas I don't know, in the marketplace, it probably can't get away with that sort of humour, whereas here you can, which is good. I guess it's the same with everyone as far as the collaboration goes. You start off with one person. Sorry. You start off with one, you know, sort of a small collaboration, and then as you sort of rotate around the areas, you sort of slot into what somebody else is doing. They approach you. Invariably, everyone knows what the other person does, and you sort of you pull that skill into the piece. Some of them they just evolve. Some of them just shouldn't have evolved. They should have be put out of their misery early in the piece. But it's the process of making. You know, it's not the end product. There's a difference between what you do at home and what you put on a little white box in a gallery, and then it's called collaboration perfect. So it's different altogether. It's about making. It's going back to the kid, like the kid in making, with that sort of childlike thing where the finished product's not important. It's that, and kids aren't interested in the finished product. It's mum and dad that nail it up on the notice board and ooh and ah appreciatively, whereas the kids, the best piece is the next piece. You know, that's finished. Let's play with it. So it's getting back to that I guess, where you're just sort of wrestling with medium and material. And just 10 minutes ago is the first time I've played with plasma cutter, apart from the fact that I desperately need one now, and I didn't know I needed it 10 minutes ago. You've got a whole bunch of crew there that know their equipment and know how far they can push the equipment, and they know that you know how to operate it. You know, that the transfer of skills from operating one piece of equipment to another is pretty easy. And yeah, all of a sudden it just opens up this whole new avenue in what you can do, or how you think about things.
You're in the crowd here.
Wow.
That's unusual.
Yeah, I saw one spot in the square.
I had another little idea that I was germinating to come here, which was kind of like a heavy spiral, large spiral form, hammered and repoussé work that I don't normally do, and fused silver, all this kind of quite risky stuff that I don't normally work on. And 2 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't figure out how it was going to fit into a necklace. It's like, I can experiment with textures here too, and leave some of those marks on, or really ride with take a risk with, you know, maybe something's not coming out how I expect it, but let that. It's like getting into. There's another way of working, of like getting into the soul of the piece and letting that come through, and that requires a bit of conversation with the piece, and it wants to go this way and you can't push it this way, you just got to let it come out this other way. And so yeah, you can take risks and work with happenstance. Yeah.
Well, my name is Elizabeth Alexander. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. It's in the southern part of the United States. And I make stuff out of wood. And I do a lot of surface stuff. So I paint on it and I burn it and I nail stuff into it. And so it's kind of, I feel like it's like a canvas for me. Yeah, I met Graham Priddle because he was doing a week or 2 week, I can't remember, like demo, and he was teaching basically a workshop at Aeromont School of Arts and Crafts, which is in Tennessee, and I was a resident there for the year. Graham was really great, and so, and kind of a breath of fresh air, you know. And then I wrote a grant and I got funded from the Arts and Science Council of North Carolina, so to do this. Like I met one woman the first day and we were just talking, and I thought this would be a great opportunity. I don't know really what you do, and you don't really know what I do, but let's just do something. And just because I liked her a lot, and it turns out I love her work, I love her aesthetic, and I've never met her before, so it's a great way to get to know somebody. And then other people, and also with these kind of collaborations, like everybody just kind of starts coming together, and I've had to go to millions of people, well not millions, I've had to go outside and ask people to help me do things like that, and so each piece tends to have a lot more than 2 or 3 people working on it. It's usually, you know, a much larger community. I'm trying many a new medium that I do not feel completely comfortable in. One is metal, beading metal, and copper, which I'm going to make for this thing, like a little propeller. Because I was talking, because I just met Steve, and Steve came in, and Steve happens to be an engineer, which is really great because I am not an engineer, and so we were trying to get, this will have like a little crank, and this will have a crank, and to me that's might as well be Arabic, you know, I don't understand, and he explained it to me in a way that I could understand it, so he's helping me with that, but I'll be doing the gears, and I don't do a lot with metal, so that kind of stuff.
Still going to come that way. That's bad, bad.
I traveled from San Diego, California. My wife and I came out a year ago and to visit friends and met Hans and Lillian, who are just absolutely wonderful people. And they introduced me to Collaboration New Zealand. I've been here for 3 days now. And actually, I'm going to be a resident. We'll be moving right over the hill. I found that while I've been here for the last couple of days and watching the metalsmiths working, they're doing so many things that I find intriguing. And over the last 4 or 5 years, I've been incorporating ceramic into my work. And the chance to look over the shoulder of some of the metalsmiths up there has really had me intrigued.
Clifton Monteith, and I'm from Traverse City area, Michigan. I absolutely love it, and I knew I would because of the event at MLA, which is very similar in a way, different people. Some of the people actually are the same. There are a few people here that have been to MLA as well, and but there is a New Zealand flavor to this that is different than in Canada. It has an awful lot to do with the location, and I think that people are definitely a reflection on where they come from and their environment, and the environment here is just so sort of human friendly that it really is delightful. Also, we found the people in New Zealand are also very, very friendly and outgoing, and we finally figured out why. There aren't so many of you here. and you're actually more happy to see someone than those of us that have lived in New York City, who are always trying to avoid being around other people to get some personal space. But it really is delightful. It's an air basket, I think, for storing your air.
Storing your air.
Well, it's just well, it's not just, it's a magnificent piece of jarrah. The wood itself is magnificent. And we're planning, it'll be going on a tall pedestal. There will be iron spikes sticking out of it, not in a regular pattern. That's if Val gets around to doing it. And David's going to do some gilding on the discs in the centre.
I'm going to gild these discs in the center. So if you can envision something like this being done on the center here,
nice.
These are some of the colors that we'll be able to get with the silver. This is all has been pre-painted with red Japan paint and some blue Japan paint. And then I applied a varnish to the surface. When that dries, it becomes the adhesive that bonds the metal. Then I laid various sheets of silver over the top, and then took some sulfurated potash and soaked a piece of cheesecloth in the potash and pressed that down to the surface. Then took some tissue paper and applied that to the surface and applied more of the potash to the tissue paper.
Can you apply the gilding over automotive lacquer?
Yes, you could.
It's something I use quite often,
sure.
Particularly the metallic automotives.
Yeah, what I would recommend if you want to do it on automotive lacquer is possibly to give it a seal coat of shellac, because shellac will seal the lacquer, and that way you won't have any incompatibility between the varnish and the lacquer.
Just the ordinary artist shellac?
Yeah, any type of, well, it could be an artist shellac or just, a finisher shellac. But shellac is a great sealer, and it's also kind of a universal bonding agent. It'll make dissimilar finishes compatible with each other.
You guys are really good at this. It's almost like you've hosted your own show.
I think we should actually jump to Hugh and talk to him about the first piece of wood he tried to turn at Collaboration.
This piece of wood was partly rotted, had a nice crack across the middle. I thought, that's me. I picked it up, and I have a lathe purpose-built, which I brought with me, just for handling heavy, out-of-balance pieces of wood. So we mounted it on the lathe, and I took a few rotations just to see how it went. And where it went, actually, was one piece went that way, another piece went that way, women fainting, men screaming.
People running.
It was ugly.
The learning curve's huge, isn't it? I mean, to work beside international people is quite mind-blowing, really. The ability is just out of this world of some of these people. And the other thing is the friendships that are built, huge.
Yeah. We've got friends from all around the world now that you could call anywhere if you were in their country, and they would be, come on over. Yeah. Just like that.
Yeah, it's huge. The camaraderie is huge. These people just stay in contact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one experience where an artist was so influenced by working with someone at Collaboration that they travelled many, many miles to work with that artist again.
Meet people that are experts in their own fields, and they get here and you meet them and start talking to them, and then they show you their tricks, and you learn little things, and you get invites all around the world, and you basically just have a really good, exhausting time.
That's thunder.
It is the best art event that I've ever participated in, and that's, I'm talking 30 years, and like, this is my 4th time returning here, and I'll keep coming back as long as I'm allowed to come back, because it's so rich. I think it's the blueprint for artistic progress. It's not only about collaboration. You know, what happens, as I just said earlier, is my horizons have just sort of gone out through 180 degrees, because I've been introduced to so many different processes and learnt to deal with different ways of thinking, and also to understand the tools to achieve a different result. And that's the most fantastic gift for an artist.
I forget your question, but there's a part of it, the tension, the stress, and there's a lot of potential for kind of ego bumps. You know, like there's these people that are way more genius than I am, or way more skilled and all that kind of stuff, and there's always a bit that it's kind of like crawl away, you know, I'm no good, I'm useless, what am I doing here, kind of thing. And that's great, you know, that's a really good challenge to just like, you know, I'm here with what I've got. You know, I come here and there's a resource table and there's a load of junk, you know, and then a couple of days I'm seeing all these fabulous treasures, you know. There's this different way of seeing and using resources.
And I thought it would be good to have a little one at our place first. It was just 15 odd people. People came and went and camped out for a week. But just to introduce people to the concept, you know, we all work pretty insular in our own little studios, workshops, whatever, and it can be hard working with other people and finding ideas that work, you know, rather than just sort of something that looks like two people have worked on it, something that looks a complete unit with more than one person working on it. So, you know, that's one thing I've noticed over the years, just the quality and the integrity of the work. You know, it takes a while to learn how to collaborate with people. My main focus is trying to create projects that include a lot of people and give the first timers things to do without wandering around lost. And a lot of people are reticent about coming to this event because they think they're amateurs or hobbyists or not. You know, a lot of people think this is just for professional artists, but it's not, because today's amateur is next year's professional artist. So I think the best analogy I feel on these collaborative events is the Emma Lake thing was the stone in the pond that Mike Oslip chucked in there, and then there's just been ripples out from there, because there's events happening in Australia and other places in New Zealand now. Fielding's got a little one happening, 30 people, and all around the world these little collaborative events are happening. Austria, there's one happening there next year. So it's been quite a phenomenal movement how it's spread and the network it's generated internationally. Every event's sort of been the same but different, you know, and I think it's the people mix that alters things. I don't have any vision for the future, except for maybe I hope that this will ripple out from here, and it already has, to a little event in Fielding that's happened this year and last year. And that's why I get emotional, is when I start talking about that aspect, the people aspect. It just reminds me just all the cool people and the cool things they've done and all the help that they've put in, you know, all the voluntary, just phenomenal what people have put in, the sponsors, the whole, you guys come in, just the whole 9 yards. It's just, you know, just, yeah, and just form such special friendships.
Right. Probably either that one or that one. I think probably that one though.
She's obsessed.
She Mark's Ferry asked a group of people to make spoons. So I've been carving this really cool little spoon out of some Quila wood that a friend of mine named Hans, whom I just met, gave to me. And I'm also doing some collaborations with Stephen Hughes from Australia and Graham Priddle from New Zealand. My expectation level was pretty much that this was just going to be an open, fun event. I'm open to collaborating with whomever I work with very thin pieces of metal, primarily silver leaf, copper leaf, and another metal that looks like gold, but it's called Dutch metal. And part of the fun of it is maybe not doing what you're accustomed to working on. So if I'm accustomed to doing wood turning, I'm going to try to do something different this time. I'm going to try and work with some clay this afternoon, and also do some gilding on other people's pieces. This is one that Raleigh Munro turned, and then he did a split turning. So he basically hollowed out this vessel, cut it in half, and then connected the two halves together. And then he gave it to me, and I painted the inside with various colors, gilded it with silver, and then treated this one with sulfated potash. I used some tissue paper, and then the tissue paper allows the potash to travel through it by capillary attraction. It burns this beautiful pattern on there. Past couple of minutes since I took the tissue paper off.
And to hold the ring-in. Right, yeah.
I'm very much an new initiate to this. And yeah.
Are you growing more comfortable here as the days go on?
Not yet. I'm quite uncomfortable. I feel quite inadequate. But
I have to make something just to pass go, to actually get into the energy of it. There's another thing that I'd like to see happening at Collaboration, where you might have a ballot system and you have, say, 50 artists and you want groups of 10, 5 in each group, you know, and then it's totally random how they're picked out, and then they create a work, and maybe that'd be a great way to start. It's my third collaboration here at Whangarei, and I got an invite in the mail to this collaboration thing, and I wasn't even sure what it was all about. And I looked down the list of artists that were attending, and I didn't know one of them. So I thought, this is interesting, you know, because usually you get invited to things, you know all the entities there, and you almost predict what's going to happen. So I was interested, so I responded, and ended up coming up and being a resource person, doing a bit of bronze casting and carving and things, and really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've been a collaborations junkie ever since. In a way, it's a collective energy, and that so you might start off something and you're thinking that you're really doing something great, and someone comes along and chops the head off it and splices a piece of shell into it or something, and you can't be precious about it, and I believe you can't actually own it in the same right, you know, like, because it's a collective thing.
Well, the diversity in skills are huge.
And some of the ones we've invited this time, like with Mark Safari and Stephen Hughes, and you know, some of these wood guys are like sort of rock stars to these wood turners. They're a bit strange wood turners actually, but they sort of bend down and worship these guys, and they want to come along and see what they do. You know? Yeah.
There's a mixture of international ones, which are invited, which Steve said. Now we pay for them to come. We pay their airfares, we pay their accommodation, and they come for the week. They don't pay anything to be here. Then there's these national resource people that are mainly local, not all of them, who bring the gear in their mediums. And there's others from around the country that we know that know how it all works, you know, and we use those. And there's the registration side. We have a certain amount open for registration. So we've got people from around the world that have actually paid to come, which is great. And so it's made up probably 60-40 of resource 60% and registrations probably 40%, making a total of somewhere in the vicinity of 65 to 70 people on site.
There's a lot of welding.
You have your own thoughts and your own ideas how you want to make something, so it's a big emotional thing for some people, handing it over to somebody's work, their baby that they've been working on. They're going to take it away and do whatever they want to it, you know, and you've just got to let it go and be part of that process. And once you do that, it actually opens your mind up to so many new things in your work.
And then you go to a no reserve auction where you've got people bidding on things that you've spent hours and hours and hours on and worked with a whole lot of people on, and because it's a no reserve auction, it could go for
$5.
Yeah, it could go for a very little money. So it's,
I make sure it doesn't.
Yeah.
T-zone's quite a bit of work.
I've been caught with the odd thing.
But yeah, so that's scary in itself, you know, when you're seeing your own work up there and going, nobody wants it.
I have been known to buy my own work back.
Yeah.
Do some work for the camera?
You can do some filing. He likes to file.
While Collaborations is designed to allow participants to experiment without the need to produce commercial quality work and safe from public scrutiny, the Open Day is really important, and it provides the general public with a rare opportunity to view the artists at work and ask questions.
You might sound much more creative.
And the bottom, so that this looks like jumping ball way. And heat it up and flatten it out, and now you've got egg. It's drying and stuck in the oil you can send it in. So I don't know how much oil you put on it. You can use stuff
This guy's a brilliant auctioneer, and he's picking up pieces and not having any idea what they were or what. And there's a little piece like this, but it was done by one of the gun blacksmiths from the United States, and all the blacksmiths wanted this piece. And everyone stood up and held their cards up. Oh, okay, we'll go up in increments of 10. And everyone's standing there, 20, you go up in increments of 20. You go 20, 40, 50, but when he got to 300, a few sat down. When he got to sort of, remember that little folded, oh, you were busy running around.
It's really hard to
You're grinning at me.
What are you doing with phallic symbols?
They're legs.
Am I enjoying it? No, it sucks big time.
Hey, I thought you looked like you were going to cry.
Of course, it's unbelievable. It's like I'm way out of my league here. You know, this is just like watching all these people create these unbelievable things instantly. It's like, my God, I wish I could do that, you know? All these ideas.
I do similar work to Hilary Sumpter and have met Garth Dobney through art interests. So Garth, and they've come to stay at our place, and Garth said, you've just got to have it. When he saw all my stuff around the house, he said, you've got to come. I've done a bit of everything. I've done a lot of things. So when Garth kindly introduced me on the first day, he said, Roz is multimedia, which is good, because I would have gone, you know, I don't know, I play.
I didn't bring a single tool, and it's all of this gear and tooling was brought by the local artist, and just to make do with what you have in a different environment is it's really eye-opening, and to see how everybody else does it, because you know you get stuck in your own little box at home and you have one way of doing it, and yeah, to just open the door and look in Garth's toolbox and to see what he has and how he'd make something. So I've learned an incredible amount. But yeah, it's mostly about your good friends. So that's why I'm going to keep on coming back as long as they'll have me.
I'm tired, but I'm going. Like, I don't think I can go to bed. There's still a lot to do, but it's exciting, you know. I like working my ass off, you know. So, plus I like all the projects, so I just want to see them done and done really well, so.
I'm feeling like a box of fluffies and looking forward to the auction.
It's a major process moving the artwork. They have to be photographed and catalogued, so we've got a team of photographers and part of our committee that spend hours, you know, all night and all day for a couple of days after we finished making, cataloguing, photographing and getting it ready for sale. So
it really sort of frightened me, the whole auction thing, that things had to be finished and that time frame is really short. But someone pulled me aside and said, look, it's not about the finished product, it's about the process, you know, and it's about the journey there.
This was started in 1998, wasn't it?
Yeah.
By Graham Priddle, and I think the first one was held at his workshop, and it's then moved to here, and the auctions used to be here. Now that we've taken the stuff into the art room, into Forum North on Saturday and have an auction there, and last year it was quite big, wasn't it?
It was a huge success,
That's it. The shape block, and then we just put a flash and flat, and then the spine together.
There's a freedom there because, like, I'm a wood turner most of the time, so you're often taking a lot of care with the pieces you make and trying to make them perfect. And make sure there's no little dings or scratches or something. And then, for instance, there was a bowl that I made, and the idea that Sarah had for it, it was her idea, was to cut holes, drill holes, make big shapes in it, burn it, torture the wood. And that's just like, it's kind of opened my eyes to a whole new approach to what I do, you know.
Really happy with my bowl. In fact, I'm really excited about it, and Rupert and I want to collaborate on that. We're going to make a few more. Yeah. So it was a huge experiment, and a lot of different effects went into it, but I'm really happy with that. Yeah.
If I buy everything I want, I'm going to go home a very, very poor man. I shall have to restrain myself. It's lovely to know the background to how the work was initiated, who did it, what their thinking was behind it. You can basically see it right from its inception right through to the sale. It's a special thing.
Yeah, I saw that then, and I said, that's a bloody big trout that's going to pop on her.
fine. Well, my background's from I do bandsaw and boxes and woodwork, which I did in the States 20 odd years ago. I'm a trustee, and I don't have a lot to do with the committee organising until the event. So it's amazing that it's gone on, because there's been sort of the organising side's been up and down sometimes with, can we make it happen, and the possibilities of things, the weather could be against us and all sorts, but it's just incredible to see it today, and it's like it's going to carry on into the future. So that's the main thing.
Well, I heard one of the people expressing at supper the other day that maybe it's kind of idealistic, but the kind of level of cooperation and support that people have for each other in these things, it's got to make the world a better place, if there was more of that going on. So at least it's a prolonged example of it for some of us for a week or so anyway. And I hear people talk about that all the time, that they've changed how they think about their work and their relationship to their work, that they tend to, some people have a more creative expression as a result of attending these things.
It's really hard to explain how it works when you're not there and when you haven't experienced it. So I kind of think that the first one has to be, sort of trial by fire. There's no real way out of that. But it's a growth experience, and if you're brave and you're willing to go through the fear that you have, and then to examine your own reactions to your experience, then I think it's a real growth experience.
Hit 220, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, against you. 230, 230, 40, 240, 50, 60, here, 260, 70, hit 270, 70, 70, 70, or 80. Hit 280, 280, 280, 300. 520 on bed. Anyone else in? Last time, 30, 530, 530, left 530 I have. Anyone else? Going, selling, yes.
So much cool. But then I was thinking, how am I going to tell Louise? Am I going to tell
And the other guy, during the build-up to this thing, you think, this is the last time. Never going to do this again. I mean, it's quite stressful. There's a lot of work for everyone, and we get, and you get here and all the camaraderie and the skills, and you think, oh, it's got to go on. This thing, it's just too good, And these people love it. They come to this beautiful country, and they're just blown away.
And it's been hard work. It's taken a lot of time out of our lives over the last 10 years just to run this, and we give our time and machinery and equipment, and but it's something we all love, and as Des says, you get here and part of the process. I don't think I've made anything yet, but part of the process of being here with this group of people is just fantastic.
It's what you get from it, but it's untangible and it's unexplainable. You can't really tell someone about it. And we're talking to a lot of the other artists. What they've been saying is that's just it. They go home and they're trying to tell their partner or their friends about this event, but they can't. They just said, well, look, you've got to experience it.
Yeah, it is an experience.
Yeah, so where from here we'll let the dust settle.
Yeah.
Takune mahi e tu ko
e hine hoki mai rā. Maku e ko te ohi koe tana. Maku e ko te ohi koe tana. Io e, kama te aho. E hine hoki mai rā. E papa wai ari, taku ne mahi, taku ne mahi e tu koroi mata. Io e, kama te aho. E hine hoki mai rā. E hine hoki mai